What is up, YouTube? Before I get into the video, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel. We have just reached a 700 subscriber count, and I appreciate you all. If you like this video, give it a like. But today we're going to be showing you how to transfer Windows 11 to a different storage device. Now, if you was with the channel and you've seen the last video, you will see that I showed how to expand SSD storage by buying an expansion card. I showed how to install it and how to get it to be supported. Now you can clone Windows, but unfortunately there's no way to transfer it. There's no way to actually officially transfer it. Windows doesn't allow you to transfer it. So the only way to do it is to clone your drive. Now it could be cloned from any drive to any other drive.
However, buying these is only recommended if you don't have any more SATA connections on your motherboard or no more M.2s to actually put in your motherboard.
However, M.2 is the fastest. Now if you want to do M.2 to M.2, you can get an offline cloner, or you can get one that connects to a computer via adapter, USB adapter. And basically what it is a lone enclosure that holds M.2s. You can get a dual one or a single one. All you do is connect it to the computer. Now if you're doing SATA or any other drive, you'll have to connect it. But make sure that the drive you're using is equal to or higher capacity storage than your original drive. Anything lower than M.2, such as SATA, USB, or hard drive, and non-solid state drive, which is SATA, will be slower in the cloning process because they are slower devices, simply put. For the offline cloner, the ones you see where it's two M.2 cards, all you really need to do is just buy the device and press a button and it'll show you an LED indicator. Those are about $100, and that's just too expensive. Your best bet is just to go with a $30 single M.2 enclosure adapter. Then get a free software to transfer it.
First things first, your system will detect the drive, but you gotta format it. So, first things first, you go to disk management, and right from the get-go,
when it detects a new drive, it's gonna ask you to initialize it.
GPT, it says disk 2.
After that pop-up screen and initializing, you gotta scroll down, look for the unallocated, right-click it, and choose New Simple Volume.
Click next. Click next. Give me any drive letter.
Now this is important for later when you want to clone. You need to know the name and the letter of your drive. That's why we're formatting it right now. So when we launch the software, we know which one we're using as a target drive.
And click next. Then once you're done with that, all you gotta do is, once you initialize the drive, all you gotta go is download Macrum. This is highly trusted. I'm gonna show you that I'm downloading it just as well. So if you have a 32 or 64-bit machine, they have both options, but I have a 64-bit. I already downloaded it, so if I go up here, I should be able to open the file. And then on my second monitor, this is a Macrum Reflect installer. Turns out Macrum's not free, but they do have a trial, so if you're looking at doing this, you can download the free trial for this quick installation. Once you got macros loaded up, the cloning process, here we go. So what you want to do is you want to find all the unnecessary drives and unclick them. The only one we want is our target drive here with the clone and the Windows right here. Go to clone this.
Specifically your Windows drive. And I wasn't paying attention to where my camera was, but you select a disk to clone. Then a very important step.
A very important thing to do here is to copy partitions and select shrink or extend to fill the target disk. If you don't, then whatever the source drive that you're copying from will apply the same capacity to your target drive. So you don't want this to show up at 500 gigs from this drive when it's a 2 terabyte model. Well, not really. All of them come slightly below what they say they are, but in retrospect, it's a 2 terabyte model. But in order to keep your system from identifying as a 500 gigabyte when it's not, do copy partitions and shrink. Click next. They have a scheduling feature. You can click next to skip that, and then you get your clone summary of what's happening, and from there you just click finish. You want to unclick save as backup definition file. That's for saving on occasional backups to SSDs. This is we're only going to be doing it one time, so we don't need to have that. That's if you're regularly doing it. You click OK. It's going to give you one last warning, and we want to select all target volume data will be overwritten. Confirm to proceed. To confirm that. And depending on your SSD or your drive you're coming from will vary depending on the time that it takes to clone it. For mine, I have two M.2s, one being a 3rd gen. I'm going to a 4th gen, so it's going to be pretty fast, but I'm going to give it, once this is done, it's going to show the amount of time it's taken to complete. Then I'll show you the next step. So all in total, the clone was about under an hour. But depending on the SSD or the storage drive you have, depends on the amount of time it will take. For this, it was actually pretty fast. So click OK. Gives us a little performance rating here. Close that. Once it completes the Windows installation, it will open the new drive up. Turns out it's opening as H for some reason. So it's going to look exactly identical to the other Windows drive. So if you go to your Windows PC folder, it should show your new Windows drive here. So what we want to do is we want to test this. Test and see if we can boot off this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to restart the PC, and then what you want to do for this particular motherboard is spam the delete key once it finishes restarting. Once you see that, spam delete key. We're in a motherboard, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go to settings, boot, and then first thing we're going to go to
UEFI hard disk drive BBS priorities. And we're going to select boot option 1 as our WD Black SN 2 terabyte, and then we're going to disable boot option 2.
That way the only one we got is and it should show up as the first bootable option is the new one we have.
Depending on your motherboard, depends on how you actually get to these settings. They're always labeled different, so try looking up the manual on your motherboard.
Save and exit, and then save changes and reboot. Seems so far so good. Yep, and it's booting. What the driver is going to do now is going to switch what was Windows G on this one is to Windows C. So when you switch to boot priority, it actually switches the path or letter it's assigned to. Pretty much the default operating system will always be on C drives, which is a good thing. We want that. Now that we completely successfully got Windows onto another drive and we know that they're working correctly, there's two things we can do. We can keep this as a backup in case something goes wrong with Windows. Keep the drive as is, or you can erase them. Now there's two different ways to erase this. You can do it through the terminal, which is the most common thing that everybody does, or you can erase it through the motherboard, through BIOS, if your motherboard supports secure erase. I like to do it through that because it gives you a nice, clean, optimized uninstall of anything on it. So
I'm going to be showing you how to do it both through the motherboard and the command prompt. So first things we're going to do is restart the computer through the motherboard.
once we see that, hit the delete key, spam it. What we're going to do is we're going to go to settings, go to advanced, secure erase. It says it'll delete all your thing, and then it'll immediately shut off. Turn back on. First time I did this, I thought I broke this, but it's just doing its thing. And then from here, you select your drive. And then select yes. It says it's complete, and now the computer will restart. And it's restarting. So as you can see here, it's a new drive. So if you go to, you right click on and go to disk management, it completely identifies as a new drive.
Okay, so another way to do it is through the command prompt. Now, if your motherboard doesn't have a secure erase feature, you can do it through the command prompt. Now, I'm going to be using a USB for this demonstration.
And what you can do is you can go to Windows and then type in CMD. That'll pop up in there, and then before clicking enter, don't click enter, run as administrator. And click yes. From this part, you type in this part all together. It's gonna run in a disk part, and then what you want to do is list disk. And then your disk will pop up. Now, depending on the drive you want to use, it will not show the name of your drive. So the easiest way to figure this out is to right click on the start menu, then go to disk management, and then depending on what name of the drive it is, or if you know the letter path, say for instance I want to delete that, it's going to say disk 3.
So we know it's disk 3, so type in select disk 3.
And it's going to say disk 3 is now the select disk, so to redouble check that, type in list disk again, and then if it has a asterisk on it, that means it's a selected disk to make sure. Then type in clean, and it should give you a confirmation message. And to verify this is a brand new disk, we're gonna exit. And save to close. Right click on the start menu again. Check disk management. See here, it's a brand new drive, unallocated. So what you would do is, after doing this, you right click on this black bar and you select
New simple volume.
reformat it to reuse it.
You can keep the size the same. Obviously you want the full capacity. Any drive letter can be selected in any volume label, aka name. I named it media transfer. You can name it anything you want. You get a summary.
There you go. For example, if you wanted to wipe your SSD in this method, it would work the same way. Just reformat it.
Again, it is highly recommended that you keep the SSD and put it away somewhere after taking it out, and just keep it as a backup drive. Windows can always fail, and so can the SSD driver. Those SSDs have a life cycle of so many read and writes, and as soon as they're toasted, there's no way to get Windows back unless you rebuy it as a new device. So it's a good idea not only to migrate Windows to newer drives, but to back them up as well and keep them in case of emergencies. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment what I can do better. Comment what video you would like to see next. And I'll see you guys for the next video. Peace out.